about it for a little bit. Well, thank you guys for coming this afternoon. Are you feeling a little good after lunch there? Good, feeling a little full. This is probably the worst time now. I'm gonna see some people nodding off. Hopefully, I'll try to be a little bit lively and more entertaining for you, but I don't know, I can't dance, so it might be in trouble. My name is Doug Harkness, and I am from the Church Partnership New Life Kitsap out on the peninsula. Took a ferry over today, so I love that little commute there. New Life is a church with 6 campuses, and so we're kind of unique. We're all mobile churches, so we set up and tear down the schools every Sunday, and so it provides kind of a unique experience for our students in our church partnership program. And we've been around for 15 years now, so we're also a little bit newer. So a little bit about myself. I graduated from Northwest in 2012 as a music major and a communication minor, and then went right to work for the university. I worked a year in financial aid and then did a year and a half in admissions, so traveling and recruiting and then doing different events and stuff like that. Had a lot of fun with that. And it's funny, I've met a couple people. How was your counselor? It's kind of fun to like get that turnaround now. It's been a little bit of time. So about a year and a half ago now, I transitioned into full-time ministry and been working at New Life ever since. Hi, welcome. Come on in. To this sign-up sheet here too. Sorry. Here you go. So talking about promotion in a half hour is going to be interesting, but I'll try. But I don't want to do all the talking. I'd love to just kind of open up the room and ask questions and see what's been working well at your sites and what hasn't been working well. We can all learn together, I think, and just kind of have it be a partnership experience. It's kind of fun. We get to be in a community in and of ourselves, and we can take things away from today to make positive changes in our own program. So let's just start this off with a word of prayer, and then we'll get started. God, thank you so much that we get to be a part of what you're doing in the lives of students all across Washington and Oregon and Idaho and all the places that we come from. God, I pray that you would continue the work that you're doing through us. God, that we would just be a small piece of it. God, that we would get to see your glory here on earth. God, that you would just reveal more of your plan to us and to the students that we get to work with. We love what we get to do, and we love you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Well, I pulled up just a couple websites so we could get a little bit of a visual. I don't have many other visuals besides the one that I handed out to you, which is a piece that Northwest produces. You have 50 of them in those goodie bags that they handed out this morning, but those are just generic postcards for the Church Partnership Program. I'm sure that, and you're welcome to develop something that's more specific to your program at your site, but that's just a generic piece that directs them to the Northwest University website, which is what is right here. So this is what students would see if they follow the link that's on that postcard, and they could request more information. But a lot of churches have taken the time to create their own web pages, and I think that's a great thing to do. And make it visible on your website as well, so that students can go there and find. It's the 21st century. That's where people are going oftentimes. That's the first point of contact for people. I think a great example is BCA Ministry College up in Everett. This is their website. It's clean. It's modern looking. There's a video giving people more information, and then they can actually start the application on the website there. This is Canyon Creek Church up in Bothell. Another great website with a video and more information on what the program is about. So yeah, that's just a couple examples. Other good videos. I like that the Eagle website has different partner promo videos that you can check out. So if you just come to the Eagle website, it's under Adult and Professional Studies Church Partnership Program, and you'll be able to navigate to the promo videos from there. In terms of recruiting, and we kind of have, it's a unique market. Church partnership programs, oftentimes it's the students that don't necessarily want to go off to college. Some programs have designed themselves to where they're inviting students from all over the place, but for the most part, I'd say, and my program is a lot like this, it's usually the people who are more in-house, the people who have been in the church for a while and aren't ready to leave the nest just yet, or maybe they don't, the cost of going to a university is really scary to them, so this is a really appealing program for them. So those are just some different, it's kind of a unique market in that sense. And so the traditional enrollment calendar kind of changes. from the traditional university enrollment recruitment strategy to our programs. So typically, whereas most programs are like November and January, that's when they're wanting applications in. Our programs, usually it's that end of the school year, that's when students start thinking about our programs a little bit more, and that's why we have more of the August 15th deadline. So for New Life specifically, we don't really start going full bore on the fall until January. We don't really, I mean, it's kind of in the back of our brains, but there's some students who might join in spring, but we don't really hit the ground running with fall until January, February. This year we're actually a little bit late, so we're getting on the game here in March and April, but you've really just got to kind of sit down with your director, or maybe you are the director, sit down with your coordinator, talk about, okay, what's our recruitment timeline going to be here? How are we going to accomplish this? At New Life, we want to visit every single campus at least once in every 6 months to continue keeping the word out there. This is something that's available. These are the different programs that we're doing. Having visually appealing items in the lobby, but also getting stage time and being able to talk about the program there, maybe even a video that you can create. That's always a win, I think. And then beyond that, we really push a lot with social media. We have different campus pages that we promote through, and you can even sponsor some ads and put them up there. Get some interest. That's where, I mean, Facebook is just there's a lot of interest that comes just from scrolling through something on your feed. So those are different ways that we've found to be successful. But I'd love to just open it up to some Q&A. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Special delivery. I love this.
We got
Yeah, go ahead.
So how many students, could you tell us how many students you feel like you get into the program through A, social media, B, just your youth group, C, just word of mouth through the church? What avenues?
Yeah, hands down word of mouth. Our people sell our program. We wouldn't have a successful program if people didn't want to talk about it. And that's true. I think that's also true of Northwest. Northwest would be the first to say their people sell the university. So we have about 10 students. So we're on the smaller side. We've gone through kind of this wave right now. We used to be with the Ministry Head Start, and now we're trying the Waters of the Church Partnership program. And actually adjusting our ways. We're about to change our name. We're about to change the academic program that we shoot for with recruiting. So we're trying new things. It's been different, but word of mouth really is the way to go. And the way to encourage that, and it's people. You've just got to connect with your people, make sure that they're doing well in the programs, and then they will in turn, without even knowing it, they'll recruit to your program.
And one more question.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Is your focus, do you find more success with a specific age group focus? Because our program, we've got from 18 to 67.
Oh yeah, and that's a cool part about these programs. Yeah.
So do you find it makes a difference or not?
We have not had many people in an over 40 age bracket. We've typically had the 20s and 30s, mostly 20s. The success of your marketing strategy is going to differ on the different generations. So over 40, typically it's not going to be Facebook, although it could be. Whereas with the 20s and 30s, typically it's not going to be a lobby interaction. Typically they're just zooming through those lobbies. They don't care to stop and talk to somebody at the table. So that's where you're getting the phone, the website. That's where you're going to have to win with them, more of the digital touch pieces. Go ahead.
So
Sorry,
you mentioned these promo videos here.
Yes.
Are we okay to use those videos on our individualized websites, or are those only for, can we use those?
Look at them first. Some of them are more branded just to the one specific site. I think Northwest might have a video floating around that could be used more generically. It really is worth it to find something in the budget to where you can get a good video for your campus, and that video will more than pay for itself. I mean, you spend $500 on a video, and it's gonna return on value within the year. Sorry, you and then go to you.
I was going to ask, because you said you had 10 students, is that a cumulative amount from the different,
Different years or
okay.
different yeah.
No, from the different churches, as you said you had.
Oh yeah, yeah,
had
that's a
6
cumulative.
different-
Yeah. And we are in a unique situation too, where we haven't had a building. We just finally purchased a building in the center of town, which is we're calling it the training center, and we're doing some rebranding around that. So
Okay.
we have found some hiccups with not having an actual building. So it's kind of a unique market out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, 2 things. One, how many students do you have typically apply then? Like as far as
Yeah.
apply, and then what is your structure once they do apply? What does that look like? Do you do like an open house? Do you do something where they get to see what the experience is like? I'm just curious.
Yeah, an experience day is probably the biggest way to have matriculation is the technical term for it. People go from that applied and approved to yes, I've committed, I'm going to this program. To have them actually see and experience it hands-on is a big selling point. We have not had one of those, but just from experience in an enrollment standpoint, I know that that's a success. Let's say this past year we had 15 students apply. We had 10 of those actually got everything done and were accepted and to that stage where they were figuring out the next steps. And of those we had, I'd say, I think it was 6 that actually said, yes, I'm going to do this and enrolled. So it can be disheartening. That's kind of the coordinators, it's a lot of work to get those students at the top of the cyclone, if you will. It can feel like, man, I put all that work, I have all these students, and then what happened? I only have this amount of students. But the biggest thing to remember is that I love what Andy Hall said in the last session, is that we're actually not in this to say, hey, come to my program, this is my program, you should do my program. It's actually, the unique thing of getting to do this is we get to encourage students in their walk wherever God is leading them. It doesn't matter if they go to my program, honestly, ultimately. If God's calling them to Kirkland, I want them to go to Kirkland. If God's calling them to Everett, I want them to go to Everett. If God's calling them to Oxford, I want them to go there. Wherever God is leading our students, I think we need to be a part of that journey and not necessarily concerned with, man, I need to meet this number or this goal necessarily as much as what's the best for my student.
A couple of locations found having good signage for wherever the room is, to where I know that Katie Creek, they have a room with a sign outside.
Yeah.
Well, the room actually doesn't work well for them because it's too small.
Yeah.
But it's a constant sign
Yeah.
that for the younger students saying, hey, next year when I graduate from high school, that I can be
I
there.
go
So
there,
it's
yeah.
sort of that constant in-house advertising has worked well.
Yeah.
So thinking of your signage, not just your title, your name of your program, what you want to call it, but also where it's going to be location, but signage can just be that constant message to the students.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's something there with your it's dripping interest. You're keeping interest on a longer period of time rather than oh, bang, here it is, and then you don't hear about it for 6 months to a year. It's hard to keep people interested in your program when they don't hardly hear about it. Questions, or even just other chip in here. What's gone well for you guys? Go ahead.
So question,
Sure.
do you find which programs promote the best? Certificate, to AAs, BAs?
Yeah. So we, with this whole transition right now, we've been recruiting toward the AA and the BA. We are actually going to take a step away from that for this next year and try something new with the certificate. We've set a goal. We want to see 40 students in this program. We think that this certificate has the potential not only to equip people in ministry, give them the tools that they need in Bible and theology and practical ministry classes. We're also talking about perhaps an incentive in pay for those who are on staff. We know, of course, that the Certificate of Ministry Leadership through the Assemblies of God, they can get credentialed. So that's another bonus. So there's different, we're trying some new, I think, going, okay, this might be the selling point for this program, and let's try to go for that. And then anybody who's interested in the associates or the bachelors, those will still be there, but they'll be marketed more as online options. So completely different. We've never tried it before. Let's touch base at this point next year and see how it goes. But, yeah.
I think
But that's
we would
it,
be
yeah.
interested in that as well,
Yeah.
because we had people interested in the certificate.
Right. Well, and what we've ran into is we can't have live classes without 7 students currently. So some students are like, man, I need that live teaching. I'm like, well, if we had marketed this more as a certificate, perhaps this could have worked for you. And then maybe out of that, students go, hey, I actually want to keep going and I want to get an associate's. Or, hey, I want the whole 4 years. Let's go for it. Great, awesome. Or maybe they get to the end of that certificate and they go, you know what, I really want to go either back to school or, hey, I really like this school thing and I want to keep going. I'm actually going to go to Kirkland, or I'm actually going to go to UW even. Say it, I want to come here.
The current students that you guys have right now,
Yeah.
do they have the same major?
Same
major?
like as they came in with, is what they.
Yeah, the course that they're taking.
Oh, all of them. Do they have the same, each of them? Okay. We have, I think it's about half and half. We have a couple doing the AA and we have a few more doing the bachelor's. Just kind of different. Right now they're in the same classes. Soon some will graduate and some will keep going with the upper level, but for the most part they've been able to kind of stay with the same classes.
Then how would you navigate on the classes that they have to take, since they have different courses to take?
Well, for the most part, they've been able to stay in those on-site ones, but the couple offshoots, the ones that had, I have this random class to take, or some people transferred in so they had already taken certain classes so they could focus on others, those were just online. Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
You talked about social media. Do you do any other social media? Is there such thing as too much social media? Because there's Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat.
It used to be that the answer would be, don't post more than 2 or 3 times a day. I think that number is growing quickly.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
It used to be like the number, the best practice to post on, say, Facebook was 2 to 3 times a day, which feels like a lot to me, but I don't know, I'm not as socially savvy. Now that number is growing. People are on Facebook almost constantly, it's on their phones. I think that we at New Life have found the most success with Facebook. We don't have a ton of traffic on Twitter. We're growing our traffic on Instagram right now. We've not advertised the church partnership program on anything but Facebook.
Okay.
But it really is up to, it changes per the area. We're in an area that's a little bit more ruralized, that people don't necessarily like the idea of Twitter or, all the Snapchat or all these different things. But Facebook is a pretty constant, I think. No matter where you go, that's pretty much available and people know what it is anywhere you go. But just kind of, I think, examine your market a little bit, see what most of your people are using. Try it out even. There's no harm in trying. See what works and what doesn't.
Right.
Leave whatever doesn't work in the desk. What's worked for some people? I'd love to hear some feedback on what's going well, and maybe even some things that you've learned from.
I think for us, we have tried a few different things. We've even paid for Facebook promos,
Sure.
and we've typed in, the keywords
Yeah.
or leaders, the groups that maybe our church has circles with. It lets you really customize your audience by age, by gender, education level, with those keywords and all of that. And I've been shocked at how far the reach has been, because it will give you a report, but I don't know that we've had any actual people go through that entire admissions funnel into actually signing up, sitting in the class.
Yeah.
This is something we've just tried this year, so who knows, maybe.
Maybe it'll have some
consistently do
more
that,
down
and
the road.
it's a small investment. I think we had a reach of over 10,000 real reaches with like a $20 investment, so
Yeah.
that's really,
A little bit goes a
really
long way.
tiny.
Yeah.
We've also done this year some recruiting at college fairs, and we're in Las Vegas, so we're in a big, a big city, and while that was great experience, we also did not end up, and that was a very large financial investment because we have convention centers and, you know, that type of thing. So that was a larger investment. We didn't get a return on that as well. What is our constant has been recruiting from our pastoral team that travels within those networks. And for us, it is as time consuming but as simple as one-on-one or even two of our ministry school staff to one with coffee appointments at Starbucks. And we
Oh,
just
yeah.
block out massive sections of time and we will get almost 100% of those through relationships. So
Yeah.
we do the lobby, we do the videos, we do the campus tours, you know, Instagram, we're on all of those platforms, but for us, which is probably why I was interested, I wanted to hear what have people done, you know?
Well, and that's interesting, the college fair thing. I had always thought about that in my head. Like, I wonder if that would work as a good way to promote these programs. And my hesitation with it was, well, there's a ton of other colleges and universities there.
Sure.
Northwest, I'm sure, is at a lot of those. And so it's like, would those be either in competition, or would it be so drastically different
Yeah.
that people would even be interested in it?
Yeah,
So, yeah, that was
it
interesting
did pull
feedback.
some interest, and I think for us, we're all really passionate, assertive, you know,
Yeah.
people who were, Jim's laughing.
Then I had
Oh, I know.
Probably laughing in
But
agreement.
we so believe in what we're doing. You know, we
Yeah.
know the investment that we're giving, our staff is giving. We do foreign missions, we pay for counseling, with the student services we offer, we are in it. And we know that if we're gonna get a student, they're gonna be empowered, their lives are gonna be transformed. They're gonna have an encounter with God and His presence, and they're going to be like pushed, you know, into whatever He's called them to. We really buy into that. So for us, we know we're gonna stand out, we're gonna stick out like a sore thumb, you know, a school of ministry, and people would, you know, make expressions, you know, of that kind. But there was something else I was gonna say about recruiting, I forgot what that was. We're just still trying to look outside, even with like maybe Young Life. I don't know if anybody has gone to any of those. We're exploring going to, we have quite a few Christian high schools that we're not maybe in very close relationship with. We're kind of wondering if anybody's done any of that. That's some of what we're looking to.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, that has been the most effective way for us to get more, because this is our first year that we're doing it in Yakima. And Yakima is kind of a smaller town, but there's 10 plus high schools stuffed into that valley. And so what I have done is just create relationship with some of the high school advisors in those schools. And that has been our number one applicant source for this episode. So this year, I don't know how many of these will actually like make it down the funnel, but we currently have about 10 students who have applied, who have turned in an application and are interested in for next year. And really what that is that, you know, the Northwest name, it carries a ton of weight.
It does.
And so when students say, man, I'm interested in going to Northwest, they actually receive two options from their high school counselor. They receive the stock information that they have about for the trad campus, and then they get our information as well. And then they're able to kind of take a look at those. And so that has been huge. And the high school counselors, in my experience, Christian and non-Christian schools have been so awesome as far as being able to meet up. Hey, can I take you out to coffee? I just want to talk to you about the school. It's local. And their eyes light up when they hear it's accredited, it's Northwest University, it's awesome, it's here localized. And so they are, and like for you, like you're saying, man, if you're dripping with passion and vision for it, they'll remember you when a student comes in and says, man, I'm interested in going into ministry. Oh man, I had this awesome coffee meeting with, you know, so-and-so. And so that has been huge for us, is just having a foot in the door.
Anything like to establish maybe like a preview day there on their campus, or any kind of a social or anything like that for their juniors and seniors?
Coming onto our campus?
Oh, no, specifically going on to the high school campus.
Yeah, so that's typically where I've had my meetings with them, you know, with the high school counselors, but as far as with students.
Yeah.
I haven't gone into like, because they've had like different like career fair, college fairs, different things like that. I haven't ventured into that yet. But I'm in the campus every once in a while with a few of those schools, but not specifically for the CPP. Yeah. But that's been huge, yeah.
We start our promotional schedule right off in like October. So the videos that we make, that was our second one. What I was gonna say is I believe that our first video that we made, I don't know if it's still on your guys'
I
website
think
or
it is.
whatever.
Yeah.
You can actually take that and probably cut the end where we show our logo and you could use, it's like a plug and play for any of them.
You really, they designed it that way. So not just to serve them, but if another
Yeah.
site wants to use it. So that's really cool.
Yeah, that one. And so but we start out with video and then we do an open house for parents and for students, which it's been really hard to get parents to come, which is just, for me, it's crazy to think about like, hey, I have 2 babies and I couldn't imagine not being there when they're trying to figure out what school that they're gonna wanna go to,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so, but they don't show up, it's just the kids, and so we go through that, and then, I have a list, so we start hitting the juniors now in our youth ministry.
Yep.
So the juniors we connect with, we connect with the seniors, but the juniors we start, hey, this is what you need to have set, this is what you need to have ready. Because, some of our juniors are like, hey, I'm not gonna do anything, I'm just gonna go work at Pizza Hut after, school is up. But they don't really have any goals, or they're thinking, there's no way I can get into college, because that's just not for me. So then we set them up on an academic plan and start working with them on that. And then we do an open house so that the students can come experience. It's sort of like a shotgun approach of and for one day that they come in, they see what it's about. So we make everything intentional, focused towards them. I constantly call. We don't utilize social media as much because for our students and stuff that we're finding out, they don't go on Facebook at all anymore. I was just telling him, I think we have 2 or 3 that use Facebook. Most of it is Snapchat, which we don't really, the social media aspect for us is we're terrible at, and so we don't think about it half the time. And so, right now with our own students, we do everything via email because that's how the world operates, email. And trying to get their mind to think, oh, I'm not texting, I'm emailing, I'm getting email, check your email, check Eagle, check, all this stuff, Discovery, get on email. And so we do a lot of that, a lot of phone calls, a lot of face-to-faces, but we have it strategically of when we do each and everything. And so that way, so last year we had, 27 students that applied. We got 12 by the time that it was all said and done. However, getting them to stick with it, it's weird the excuses that they come up with at the last second, and I'm just like, what? And we had 2 that are like, oh, well, God's telling me to not do Psalmo, that I should just do my own thing, and we're like, okay. And it's 6 months later and they're still not doing anything. I would think God would tell you to do something, not just sit there and watch TV all day. Would have been doing something instead of working at Starbucks, I don't know. And so it's just trying to keep them, and that's what I was more like, what's your follow-up? Yeah, retention, once they turn in their application, what do you guys do? Because I'm just going to do a couple of workshops to bring them in to help them with FAFSA and do all that, because we had a kid who did FAFSA.com and got scammed out of $60, right? And it's FAFSA.org, right? And so after that, he was like, I don't want to do it. And he was just turned off and wouldn't do it. And now he's like, oh, I should have done it, And I was like, well, we need to have a workshop because, most of these kids aren't ones that are going to Harvard, right? They don't have it all figured out. They don't have, and so they need help, going along. And we figured out that we haven't provided them that service besides, hey, go to our website, read 1,000 words, and then hopefully you got it, So that's one of the things.
Personal relationship with your students is the only way that they're gonna get through that process.
Yeah.
Rarely do students actually take that, especially younger students. These are people coming right out of high school. I found with traveling and recruiting, a lot of the times these high schoolers were not prepared for the college admissions process. They had no idea what to expect, and so just having a college counselor walking with them through those steps was it made a difference for them, and that made a way for them to actually attend, and that became a reality. So really do take the time to reach out to the students and be there for students, and even go as far as if you're comfortable with texting them, say, hey, how's it going? Just wanted to check in on your application. Do you have any questions? Do you want to meet for coffee? Is there anything I can be praying for you about? Just really be intentional and relational with those students, and that'll be the biggest win.
And Doug, one thing I found too is that there are some, if you look hard enough, there are some technologically savvy individuals that would make up the elderly population of your church. You have to search, but you can find them. And they love helping like the younger students go through that admissions process. And so what we've done is we've identified like 4 or 5 of our senior adults who just want to like love on kids, and they get so excited when we say, man, we've got a high school senior that's going to be going to college here at Stone. Would you help them out with the admissions process? And they're like all about it, like their dreams have come true. And so yeah, we have those folks, we call them admissions counselors, we give them like a really cool title. And they just love it, and they love it. And so they have been huge for that. So, and it's a great way to get multi-generational church like folks involved.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Well, it's 2 o'clock, so I'm sure that we need to get going on to the next thing. But I'll stick around for a few more minutes here and answer any, if you want to come and ask me questions or dialogue about anything. I brought my cards in case you want to grab that. You can follow up with email or give me a phone call. Yeah, thank you guys for coming, and
Thanks, Doug.
this was rewarding. Thank you.